Alright, for this, I'm just recording on my phone because I don't have a camera. This is probably going to be my first video. But basically, I've got my smelting pot down here hooked up. And I'm going to be making some legs for this son of a bitch because it is getting so hot that it has, might not be able to see, it has warped my table and is melting the canopy that I have above this. This is just like my basic little blacksmithing area, first ever really blacksmithing area. Everything's a mess. Over here I've got diagrams and notes and everything. This is what I'm using to make the legs. I'm using 70-inch rebar, and I'm dividing that by 2 because the entire bar length is 70 inches. Divided that by 2 equals 35 and all that boring math shit. Basically, it's just going to be 32-inch legs and a 3-inch base on this. So it's going to end up making this shape. So leg, leg, and then that little bit is going to be welded onto the bottom of my forge. And I just got to do that twice to make all of the legs for the stupid little stilt thing. So I'm just gonna fire up the that real quick and get it all melted. Also, don't mind the can pile, that's just bar melting. So see you then. Alright, I've just come back, just grabbed a fan, set it up, and did some other stuff, and now I'm going to just turn the forge on. I've also got this little tripod thing that my phone is in. See if I can set it up on here. Crap, I can't really see it that well. Ugh. Okay, I've got to see about upgrading my crap before I do this. I don't know that. I guess I don't know. You can see the thing in either way. It's fine. And yeah, I might not end up talking all that much while working. I'm just trying to get this stuff done. But yeah. How do I get out of here? Okay. It's fine. Alright. I've got my gloves, I've got my apron, everything I need, my face shield. Whenever, I don't even know if you can hear me right now in the camera, but if you can, then whenever you are starting blacksmithing, all that you really need is a good pair of gloves, some kind of a blacksmithing apron, and something to protect your eyes. Now I am using an entire face shield because well, I've got eye problems and I need seeing glasses, and I can't wear protective goggles and my glasses at the same time because it doesn't fit. So, I should probably turn my fan on, but sorry about all the background noise, but I need the fan. I live in Florida, and it's about to be summer, and most of what I do is in the dead sun outside. So, yeah, it gets very hot, because not only am I having to put up with the good, 90-degree weather, but also the, 2,000 degrees that this thing gets, or, well, the smelting furnace will get. So, yeah, sorry, but I'm having to turn on this fan. How do I? There we go. Much better. Alright. Probably ain't gonna be able to hear me much, but I'm just gonna turn the forge on and get working. Standard stuff. Papers. this to fully get all hot and everything, and I guess if I can find any royalty-free music or whatever, I'll probably set up like a time-lapse thing here of the thing heating up, and if I can't, then it's just going to be a jump cut. Alright, so see you then. I'm just going to chill for now and wait for the furnace to heat up. Alright, that looks about heated up enough to set the rebar in, and basically my plan is just to lift the lid, and then, you can actually probably see my rebar here. It's got a bend in it, which I'm going to want to straighten out before heating it up roughly in half, I'd say, and, yeah, and then just taking it to the anvil and trying to what was I saying? I do this a lot, by the way. This isn't just on camera shyness. I just talk like this. I forget what I'm saying halfway through all my sentences. Right, I'm gonna just bend it in half once it is heated. So. Alright, and with that we should be able to just let that heat up just like that for now. Obviously it's not the best, but it's about all I can really do with how much I have. And yeah, we're just gonna wait for that to heat up. And if you're wondering, what I'm currently wearing is my gloves, apron, the face shield, my normal seeing glasses obviously, and shorts. And some simple shoes, like Crocs. The reason why I'm wearing so little is because of the heat. And all that I really need in terms of protection are the gloves and apron, and obviously the face shield is one of the most important things other than the gloves. Because like if some kind of slag or anything flies off and hits my arm or like one of my legs or something, it's not all that bad. It's like, yeah, it's gonna hurt, but it's only gonna hurt for like a second. You can just walk it off. It ain't gonna kill you. But yeah. Then the reason why I'm not wearing a shirt is mostly just because of the heat. To be honest, it's not really needed since the apron already covers my chest and everything. And, yeah. But anyway, I'm just gonna let the rebar heat up and. Yeah, once it's heated up, I'm going to take it to the anvil and get working. And the reason why it's still rusty and I'm not bothering getting all the rust off is because what I'm doing with it, it doesn't really matter. Whenever you are actually trying to make something real nice and everything, it will be good to get the rust off. And one way that's actually pretty good to do that is, well, what I usually do anyway, is just heat up whatever I'm going to get the rust off of. I just heat it up with it still rusty, then take a wire brush and just brush off all the hot slag of the rust. And usually that gets most of it off. But yeah, it might be a little bit rusty because I haven't actually forged anything in a while. Because, well, all this stuff that you're seeing is still pretty new in terms of, like, the equipment is all pretty new. But, yeah, I haven't actually done much of anything in a good few months, half a year, maybe even a full-on year or something. But yeah, just trying to get everything done. And what they don't tell you is how much stuff you're gonna have to go through to actually get stuff done. Like when I first bought the main forge there with the 3 burners, it had a lot of problems. Like it had no front door. It had like the entire thing was getting so hot that I had to weld on a copper pipe to get the hose out of the way. And speaking of getting the hose out of the way, so we can heat it up. But yeah, I guess should I stop recording for now? And hold on. Yeah, I guess I'll just stop recording for now and see you when the crap is heated up enough. Also, sorry in advance for how much I curse. I know that I shouldn't be doing it, and it's all weird and all that, but I don't know, it's just how I talk. So, sorry in advance for all the cursing. I'm probably gonna end up bleeping it all out whenever I'm editing. And in terms of actually the quality of my videos, none of them are going to be that good for now. Like, they're going to be pretty bad because all I have in terms of cameras is my phone, and you get it, all that stuff. But I'm just recording these videos to show people like what to expect when first blacksmithing, you know? It's like all of this stuff that I have, most of it I rather got for free or bought myself. Like the rebar that I got, I just went over to a nearby construction site and asked them if they had any extra old rebar that I could have, and they just gave it to me. So a good way to get a decent amount of steel for decently free, like whenever you're first starting out, is just to go to construction sites or like places where they're demolishing something and ask, hey, do you have any extra rebar that I could just take off of your hands or something? Or just ask to like raid their dumpster or whatever. But obviously, whenever you're first starting out, you don't need any fancy stuff, like at all. Like the main things that you will need is something to protect your eyes, as well as some kind of gloves and an apron for basic protection, you know. And then you will need some kind of a simple anvil, like the one that I have was like 40-something bucks, something like that. I can't exactly remember, but it's a real good anvil. Obviously, it's really small and everything, but it's still plenty good enough for what I'm using it for. And in terms of tongs, I have some pretty good tongs, obviously. But you don't even need that. You can just use a decent enough pair of pliers, and it'll work. For hammers, you can just go over to a pretty much any hardware store and just pick up a standard little hammer. But one thing, hold on. Here it is. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this much on video good, but my hammer here, this simple little one, I just got at some kind of hardware store. I think it was like Harbor Freight or something. But what I did was, notice how on this hammer, hold on. On this hammer, if you look close, which you might not be able to see because I'm bad at recording and everything, but the edge right here it's just sharp. There's barely any curve right there. It's just going to go straight sharp. And what that does is, I might actually have an example. What that does is this. You might not be able to see it all that well, but there are a lot of sharp little divots and grooves in this little knife thing that I used to make. There's a bunch of little sharp bits that are difficult to get out. Now, what I would recommend is doing what I did with this, and take yourself some kind of a some kind of a grinder, like preferably a belt grinder, and just taking the hammer on the thing and then just doing like this on it. And what that does is it smooths out that edge and makes it so that whenever you are hitting and you like go off center a little bit like that or whatever, something like that, instead of it being a sharp groove that's hard to get out, it will just be a simple, smooth little thing, little divot thing. And it will basically it'll just make things a lot easier whenever you are blacksmithing to not have that. So basically that little hammer that I just showed you is like pretty much just as good as a big fancy $200 blacksmithing hammer, which I just got for like a good couple bucks at a simple hardware store. And yeah, then just worked on it a bit. Anyway, I'm gonna stop recording for a bit and let that heat up. Alright, it hasn't really been all that long, but the rebar should be heated up enough now that I can move it with the hammer, you know. So I've just got to straighten out that little bend and get this thing back out over here. Can't really see the anvil like that. Move this chair. Pretty much just been sitting in this little lawn chair while the thing heats up. And hold on, I'm just gonna set my phone down over here. All right, there we go. Now, I guess can I? If I were to set it here, would that be good? Ow. Sorry, this is obviously my first video. I didn't have a plan for recording really. I want to get the camera in a position where you can see this stupid thing, but there isn't a good angle anywhere with any of my crap. I mean, maybe I could just use the chair. Just like set it on this, I guess. This little tripod thing that I have is not very big, by the way. Alright. Get that untangled from that. There we go. Now like this. Is that good? No. Crap. Well, okay. What do I do? Can I put it on my quenching tank? Yes, actually. Just hopefully no slag or anything jumps out and hits my phone. I guess I'm just going to set you on my quenching tank so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. I just tripped over the extension cord like an idiot running to my fan. Okay. Where am I going? I am always losing my stuff. By the way, this entire area is just chaos, and I'm constantly losing things because I don't keep things organized. Also, can I fix that can? There we go. Alright, I got it back in. Yeah, all that work for that little tiny bit of movement. That's pretty much what this is. A ton of work, a tiny bit of movement. Also, here's a good look at my blacksmithing tongs. It's pretty solid. They're pretty solid, real good, strong, maneuvers easily. One problem is that it opens up a lot. So, yeah, in terms of comfortability, they're not all that great. What I would actually recommend is getting a pair of tongs like this. They're much smaller, cheaper, and they can actually grab onto stuff really good because they only open up that much. Real easy to grab and squeeze the thing, and whenever you are grabbing and squeezing something, the actual handles will bend a little bit, allowing you to grab it even harder so that you don't lose everything, but oh well. You can grab rebar pretty decently if you want, but right now I'm just grabbing the end of the rebar. Alright, it's been a minute, and I decided to just do the first one mostly off camera. I got it, can't really see it in there, but I got it straightened out good enough just so that I know what the hell I'm doing and how to do it before I record it and embarrass myself. But right now the second one is heating up. If you are wondering, yes, I am hot as hell and dying, but let's get this other bit bent or straightened and then bent after, but you get it. It's gonna take a good minute or two for that to heat up. Might as well just stand and record the forge for now, I guess. Ain't doing nothing else, but yeah. Whenever you are first starting blacksmithing, I wouldn't actually really recommend doing what I did. What I did was I just went on Amazon and bought a bunch of blacksmithing stuff. Obviously, it's good to get some blacksmithing stuff on there, but I wouldn't really recommend getting a forge on it, because most of what you're going to find is actually going to be very expensive and often not worth it. What I would actually recommend is getting, or well, you buy a whole bunch of fire bricks, like this. This is a fire brick. Basically, you probably already know what the hell a fire brick is. It gets good with retaining heat, all that. It can heat resistant. What I recommend doing is getting a whole bunch of those and building some kind of a little box or something out of it. Like just like how this thing is built, just put like one here, one on the wall, another on the other wall, and then one on the back wall, and then leaving the top actually open so that you can fill that little trough thing out of fire bricks with coal. And then with that, what you can do is just attach some kind of metal pipe to the side of it, to like around like the side middle of the little thing, and attach that metal pipe away into some kind of vacuum or bellow or something like that, so you have a simple little coal forge. It can be pretty cheap. Well, one of the cheapest forges you can actually get or make, actually. But I just went straight for propane. But yeah, I would recommend doing the whole coal forge thing. In terms of an anvil, you can rather just buy a cheap little anvil. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that little one that I got was like 40 bucks on Amazon. It's a good little anvil. But you could also just use a big block of just a big block of metal or something, like over here in my little metal storage area. It's just a bunch of old rebar. I actually have this big solid bit of steel, real thick. It's like a bit of I-beam from a building that of course I got from just going to an old construction site or demolition site or whatever it was, and just asking them if I could raid the dumpsters. Found that and took it home. But something just like that will work plenty good enough for a simple little forge. What else I would recommend is just getting some kind of a book or notepad. What I actually did was I got a watercolor paint pad because the pages are good and thick. You know, like the pages are decently strong and won't get messed up. And of course, there's just a lot of little notes, stuff like measurements, like formulas on how to get the weight of how much steel you would need. So like you'd obviously make volume by length, width, height, do volume times density of the metal, and the density of steel is 0.28 pounds per cubic inch, or just 0.28, and just do all that stuff to get the length times density equals weight. Then you should do weight. I think it was minus. It could have been plus, but it was rather plus or minus 10 to 20%, because that is how much you will, around that range is how much material you will lose while actually like hitting it with a hammer and all that. And then after you do that, you just get the total weight of whatever you needed. Like I did a whole bunch of stuff with one sword, all these little numbers and everything, and ended up needing 2.13 pounds of steel to make a certain sword. Or well, my first sword design, actually, which is a Ulfbert. I don't know how to say it, actually. It's just a cool little Viking sword that I'm eventually going to make once I get the forge here fully done. But, yeah, I reckon that's good enough to take out and start forging. But, yeah, I'm pretty much just doing these videos to show people, like, what they might expect when first starting out blacksmithing, like, what it might look like. Like, this is just a random little bitty area in my yard that I just cleared out, made the bottom of it all just dirt and gravel, and put a canopy over. But, yeah, when starting out blacksmithing, you don't need much, but you do need some nice stuff. Alright, like I was saying. Crap, what was I saying? I don't remember. Right, with power tools, what I would recommend is going to some kind of a cheap hardware store like Harbor Freight or something, and picking up, number one, an angle grinder. Just a simple little angle grinder with a couple different blade attachments, you know? Like a whole bunch of cutting discs, some grinding discs, and like sanding discs and stuff. That, as well as some kind of a vise. Like, I actually got lucky. I actually got extremely lucky and was able to get this beast. This absolute monster vise. I got my little soundproof headphones there. This big old vise. I just got it for free from my buddy, and it was just a little power sword thing. Anyway, I actually got that thing pretty luckily from one of my friends, or well, my dad's friends. You get it. But what I also did was I just took this little bitty one and just sloppily welded it. Like, my welds are absolutely horrendous, but it's good enough. Welded it onto the steel plate, which is welded onto my table, and it's a good little vise for blade assembly. basically, I'm going to use that to secure my sword or whatever it is in place while I hammer on the guards and handles and pommels, all that stuff. Yeah. So, we're just waiting for the thing to heat up. I guess, can I position it so it's looking at the forge? By the way, this little smelting furnace that I have, it gets to, I don't actually know the exact number, but I know that it at least gets up to 2,000 degrees, or 2,000 degrees, obviously in Fahrenheit. But 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, because I melted some copper in it a while ago, and I know that that's around about 200. Or not 200, but 2,000 degrees. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab a water bottle, because I'm hot. Yeah, one thing that I would highly recommend doing when blacksmithing is having nice cold water bottles somewhere nearby, because you are going to get hot. Unless you live somewhere where it's just constantly snowing outside or something. I live in Florida, so it's already like a good 90, 100 degrees out in the summer. But yeah, I get very hot when blacksmithing and often overheat. And couple of times almost passed out, but enough with all that crap. I'm just gonna get back to forging. That didn't actually put a scratch in it. Well, it's not about this. Alright, a little update. It's been only like a couple minutes. I'm just heating up the rebar still. But the rest of the bending and everything I will probably be doing off camera, just to cut down on how long I'm going to have to, or well, how much video I'm going to have to edit and everything. But yeah, I guess I'll just show you once the thing is completed, or at least one of these things are done. I still got to do the other one, but I will just show you the finished product then and explain like what my entire plan is, obviously. But see you then, I guess. Okay, update. I only got it bent a little bit extra. I got to bend it a whole lot more, but I'm stopping for now because the way that I'm doing this is stupid. Here's a tip: whenever you're doing something really big like this, like you have two giant ass pieces of rebar, just whenever you're doing something like that, get someone's help. Like, getting someone's help would be way better, smarter, safer, all of it, than doing what I'm doing and just doing this alone. Like, I had the thing propped up and everything, and I almost tipped over the forge a couple times, or smelting pot, but do as I say, not as I do. Don't be stupid like I am and go and try and bend it without anyone's help, because something big like this is difficult to work and it's not a good idea to do on your own. But I guess that'll conclude the little video thing. But off camera and everything, over the course of the next few days, I'm probably going to be bending these more and getting them all figured out to set as stilts on the big forge here. You can kind of see it where you'd have like one leg going down and then another leg going out too, and then right there in the middle on the end is where the forge